tuned into the greatest sports show on the planet. That's Prince, and he's Barty. And you're now listening to Prince and Barty. Buckle up.
What's up, man? Welcome back. Episode 113 of Prince and Barty. What's going on, man?
Man, we back at it again, recording. Man, I'm excited, man. Just we about to hold the court, basketball, draft. It's amazing.
Let's get into it, man. So like you said, let's get into holding the court with Prince.
Holding court with Prince. Our resident NBA guru, Prince, dives into all things basketball.
Fades into a three. Got it! Curry!
Oh, a lot of great games this weekend, man, But what I noticed, obviously Lakers lost. We talked about that in our Prince and Barty After Dark. But a lot of these young teams didn't show up, man. Obviously, the Grizzlies got blown out. The Rockets got handled, and the Magic got handled. What is it about young teams in the playoffs, man, that they just don't know what they're getting into?
The playoffs is more physical. So you're not used to that style of physicality. You're able to roam and move. I mean, we talk about the bad boy Pistons. I mean, we talk about Michael Jordan's first, 6 or 7 years in the league, that he couldn't win the championship because he couldn't get used to the physicality. Ant-Man couldn't get used to physicality. Trae Young, Luka Doncic. It takes time. When you look at their first years, all these guys have not played a physical style of basketball like this. This is the style that a Draymond Green survives in. This is a style that Dennis Rodman, Bill Laimbeer, some of the greatest physical players we've ever seen, they love this time of year. It's like somebody who loves Christmas. The playoffs is their favorite time of year for a physical style of basketball. So we knew this was going to happen. And I generally believe that the Warriors lost that series on purpose so they could play Houston, because they knew other teams could play physical with them, but they couldn't.
No, that's real, man. You look at Cade Cunningham, obviously, he's up there for most improved. And, Jalen Green struggled. These guys dominated, top 10, top 5 scorers. They get in the playoffs. Because I tell people, playoffs are different because I can scheme for you now. I'm seeing you 4 to 7 times, you know what I mean? So I'm seeing you all the time now versus I see you one time in a regular season. Now they got a game plan to you now. Jalen Green's not used to seeing sophisticated defensive sets. Cade Cunningham, they're going to key in on you and make these other guys beat you. But as a Laker fan, man, I'm upset just because we're the only home team that lost, man. You notice that?
I wouldn't be too upset. I read a stat that said most LeBron teams lose the first game. He uses the first game to fill you out. And even though Luka was the best player on the team, the team lives and dies by the mindset of LeBron James. So them and JJ is going to make the beauty of this whole situation is, you know this as much as I do, because the last time we did a playoff show, you talked about the greatness of Eric Spoelstra, the greatness of Greg Popovich, the greatness of Phil Jackson. They know how to make mid-game adjustments. JJ Redick will have the Lakers adjusted. This is not going to be what Shannon Sharp says, Lakers in 5. I think that we all know how great Ant-Man is and how great that defense is. So we're going to make sure that we have that going. I think the Lakers will be fine. They'll win the next 2 games. The T-Wolves will win game 4. And then we'll be talking about maybe Lakers in 6 or Lakers in 7. The Lakers will make the adjustments. We're also talking about a man who's been sitting for a long time. You saw that at his old age, LeBron couldn't really get up and down the court like he normally does because his body wasn't warmed up. AR wasn't used to that physical play they were doing. And then we didn't have the right people on Edwards or James. I didn't see Finney-Smith or Vandal on these guys. And those are our best defenders. We'll make the key adjustments. I think the Lakers was waiting for that first jab. They took the jab. They're going to come back. I think the same for Houston. I think Ime Udoka is going to take the jab. And that Houston series, even though everybody thinks that, the Warriors are going to – I think the top-seeded teams the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Celtics, the OKC Thunder. Those are going to be sweeps. Those series of the series is going to be sweeps. But I think that Lakers will bounce back. LeBron James will get a game. AR will get a game. Luka will get a game. And then we'll be talking about either game 7 or game 6.
Yeah, I agree, man. I just feel like I think Luka and LeBron are some of the great. Obviously, I bring up James Harden all the time with that. They can manipulate the game, probably the best in the history. We just got to put Gobert in uncomfortable positions and Nas Reed. Nas Reed is the kind of person where, all right, Randall, he wants to get to the lane, do that spin move. LeBron stripped him. He knew what he was going to do. I think it's about getting Gobert, make him unplayable, and make Nas Reed unplayable. Nas Reed is dangerous because he stretches the floor. So that's why you saw them, they get easy stuff at the rim. Because now you can't leave Nas Reed. So they're similar to us because they can put you in uncomfortable matchups. Nickeil Alexander-Walker could shoot. So it's not going to be a walk in the park, like I've been saying. I think ultimately we could play grown man bully ball and win because we got better scorers and people who could get to the basket in the line, but it's definitely going to be a dogfight. But
that's a fact.
I want to talk to you about the Memphis Grizzlies, obviously getting the breaks beat off of them. At one point I looked up, they was down 50 going in the third quarter. They over there dancing and chilling, man. Shea was icing his knees in the third. So obviously nobody looks at the Grizzlies just winning, but the Grizzlies' fall from grace got to be studied, man. Just a few years ago, before the incident, the gun incident with Ja, we find in the West, Ja's famous quote, we find in the West, he was battling the Lakers. It was a mini rivalry with Memphis for a little while. You had Dylan Brooks going at it with Bron. But since then, Dylan Brooks is gone. You bring in Marcus Smart thinking you're going to get that back. He gets hurt. You fire your head coach. And Triple J is not up to the bill. He didn't do anything, and up for a contract. He didn't even make the finalists for Defensive Player of the Year. You're looking at paying him upwards of $280 to $300 million for a guy who can't even get you a double-double in the playoffs, in a blowout. Marvin Bagley did more than your franchise piece. So if you the Grizzlies, man, after this, do you just blow it up? Like what I don't know what Ja could get. I just think he's gonna be in a Anthony Davis kind of thing, man, where like these guys are in these small markets and you hope to get a trade, but nobody's going to Memphis on purpose.
This is the thing when I look at with certain teams. Certain teams don't realize that, as Shaq said, he said he won a championship because of Derek Fisher. He won a championship because of Robert Horry. He was a great player. Kobe was a great player, but they needed those others around them. The Grizzlies losing their others in Brooks. It's even with to bring back up the last series. The only reason why I'm not afraid of the T-Wolves is because they lost players who were key to them being one of the great teams in the league. Yeah, they got Daniels, but these things are not. These are issues. Ja's a front runner. He's not a great star in the clutch. I don't think that the matchup helped them out. Then you also have to remember going down the stretch, they didn't play their players like they should. They didn't play teams like they should. They didn't take the stretch. Remember now, Memphis was number 3, and they fell all the way down to the 8th seed. So the momentum was not in their favor. They don't have the defense that they have. Some of their best defenders are too small or too young. And you're going up against the best team in the Western Conference. Listen, this was the thing that scares me the most about this is this gives OKC a chance to get their A game back and be in championship format. And that's the only thing that's kind of scary for other teams like the Lakers, the Nuggets, the Golden State Warriors. Like, we cannot sleep on OKC because now they have a chance to, okay, we wasn't playing well towards the end of the year. We get the easy Memphis Grizzlies.
Yeah.
Memphis is not taking this seriously. We're talking about, like, me and you, we grew up in the hood. So we knew, we're not trying to get that third strike. We might have fell down one time. We get back up. We don't make that same mistake. Ja doesn't have that mentality. This generation will continue to fall down and bump their head. They say the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different response. The man don't have no sense, man. That's what I see. It's no disrespect to Ja. He has the athleticism, but he don't have the brain. They don't have the brain for the game. The funny thing about these new players, and I'm just saying new players, and I mean American new players, they don't have the mind brain of the game. Even now, what Ant did on Saturday night, why would you point at Luka? You're waking a sleeping giant. It's just game one. You're getting excited over one game. It's a 7-game series. These young players don't realize that. One thing that I could always say that I always appreciate about Kobe Bryant, best clip ever. Why are you not excited? What for? Job's not done.
Yeah.
And Kobe never talked junk till the job got done. Michael never talked junk till the job got done. Keep your mouth shut. You should learn from the 3-1 Warriors. Clay said LeBron was in his feelings. What happened? LeBron won 3 games straight, and it was the biggest comeback ever. You never wake a sleeping giant. And that's what's going to happen in that series. That's why I'm not worried for the Lakers. If they would have stole game 1 and game 2 and he did that, then I would say it was time. But you now can give him enough that the Lakers could run 3 straight games off you, and then you going home looking stupid.
Yeah.
And so when you look at these players now, they have the talent. They don't have the mindset. And that's why whenever someone tells me Ant Edwards or Ja Morant's going to be the face of the NBA or Zion Williamson, I laugh, because in order to have the face of the NBA, you have to have the mind. If you don't have the mind, it's not there. Luka has a mind for the game. Jokic has a mind of the game. As far as I'm concerned, right now it's a European league. We have American players, but our best players are European. Giannis, Joker, and Luka. Best players in the league, and they have a mind for the game of basketball.
And Shea is not European, but he's definitely from Canada. But no, I agree with you, man. It's definitely a mental aspect of the game that, like, sadly, America doesn't have. And that's why Europeans are able to catch up with us, especially from a skill standpoint. But let's get into the NBA awards, man. You know, the finalists have been announced. Obviously, let's run through it real quick. MVP, we got Giannis, we got Shea, and we got Jokic for 3 MVP finalists. Defensive Player of the Year, we got Dyson Daniels, Draymond Green, and Evan Mobley. I told you Triple J is not on that. He would have got a big contract and he was on that. Adam Silver then was like, nope, we're not paying him $300-some million. It was like, nope. Rookie of the Year, Stephon Castle, Zachary Reicher from the Hawks, Jalen Wells, Grizzlies. 6-man, we're looking at Malik Beasley, Ty Jerome from Cleveland, Peyton Pritchard from Boston. Coach of the Year, Kenny Atkinson, JB Bickerstaff, Houston Rockets, Ime Udoka, Most Improved, Cade Cunningham, Dyson Daniels, Zubac from the Clippers. Clutch Player of the Year, Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, and Jokic. So when you look at these awards, did they get it wrong or did they get it right? You know, obviously the MVP, I think that's obvious. Those are the top 3. But what's interesting to me though is the clutch players and how they tabulate that. So they got Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, and Joker. How do you think they put that together?
Well, they were wrong with that because LeBron had led in clutch points this year. So I'm not just saying that because I'm a LeBron fan. He should have been a finalist. I don't know if you take out Ant or you take out Joker, but I would put LeBron in there. Remember now, Luka came at the trade deadline, so LeBron was key to half of the wins that the Lakers have, because AD, of course, he was hurt for a portion, but LeBron was playing well. LeBron, when he did get hurt, was when after the trade deadline. So Luka carried him from there. So LeBron should have gotten a finalist vote. I think everything else is fine. I mean, Defensive Player of the Year, I got Daniels. MVP, I'm still going with Joker. I know Shea might deserve it, but
it's hard.
Joker's
those Wilt Chamberlain type stats. It's hard to deny.
Well, Yeah, and after we had that last talk about Joker, I really sat back and just evaluated everything. This guy's the way he's playing basketball is ridiculous. So he has to me, he's my MVP. Defensive player of the year is Daniels. Um, Most improved player, I would give it to Zubac. I love what Zubac is doing, and this is an indentation on James Harden because James Harden has him playing as you said, the Clint Capella effect.
Yeah.
He's having a great year. Um, I think all of them went well except for clutch player. I don't know who I would take out because Joker is clutch. I think LeBron was more clutch than Ant Edwards this year, but Ant Edwards took his team to the playoffs, so there's an argument there.
So you
So
like
I probably would.
You like Brunson there?
No, Brunson's going to win. Brunson deserves it. Stats wise, Jalen Brunson. We know who Cat Towns is, and when you look at the Knicks and who the Knicks have been in the last 2 years, Jalen Brunson might have been the most clutch player in the NBA. Period. We can go back to when he played with Luka. He was clutch. He always does. For some reason or another, this little dude here, no disrespect, but because he's small in NBA standards, he is amazing as far as the heart that he has to go out there and get those buckets, you know? And so, I think he's the clutchest player in the NBA right now. I'll take him. If I had to take a shot, I know people going to say I'm tripping. I would take Jalen Brunson giving me a shot over Steph Curry.
I mean, nobody. I would take a few people over Steph Curry, Dame Lillard. There's a lot of people who just, like I told you, Jalen Brunson reminds me of how Fred VanVleet played during that Toronto Raptors run, where fearless, Chauncey Billups, big shot. They're not the best guys, not the biggest guys, but they got the biggest balls. Pause. But
Yeah.
you look at Coach of the Year, man. Kenny Atkinson got them Cavs playing. He took them out of purgatory, right? Obviously, JB Bickerstaff with the Pistons, their first playoff appearance since forever. And then what Ime is doing, I think this is a tough category, the Coach of the Year, because all these three dudes they got their team playing on a high level. Because nobody saw the Pistons doing anything, if we're being honest.
It's between Ime and Bickerstaff. No disrespect to Atkinson. Atkinson's did a great job, but you look at what he has in Garland, what he has in Mobley, what he has in Allen, and then of course he has Spider. Yeah, he has weapons. But now Isaiah Stewart and Cade Cunningham made the playoffs. Who is the star sanguine for Houston? Like, we have to really, I would say this, and I'm not trying to bring spirituality, but I believe in a spirit of vindication. Everybody gets vindicated. The Lord likes to vindicate people. I think if Ime wins the Coach of the Year, it's a spirit of vindication for him over Boston. Because Boston did all this to put this man down. Houston hasn't been nothing since James Harden. Toronto left the point guard for dead. Nobody thought Amen Thompson would be this good. Nobody thought Green would be balling the way he's balling. They talking about Green messing with Drea. Like, we're talking about other things with these players. And to watch what Houston is doing right now,
for sure,
you got to give him his love.
No, I agree, man.
You may got to get that love. Like Udoka, he is under the pop tree, and everybody under the pop tree has their moment. Budenholzer had his moment. Pop has had people who came up on him. They all had their moment. Scotty Brooks, he had his moment when he was a coach. Exactly. Yeah. Steve Kerr. So you watch it. It's another player on the Pops tree that is got to give his love.
No, I agree, man. Let's talk hockey, man. Let's get into this ice check.
The Ice Check with Barty.
He shoots, he scores!
Talking all things hockey with the latest news and highlights.
Obviously we're about to heat up with NHL playoffs. Home team, Florida Panthers, are back in it. Remember last year we had a great time talking to the fans. What are some things you're looking at? I know VGK you've been high on. You've been high on a few teams. What teams are going to make a deep playoff run and may hoist that trophy in the end?
Two teams jump out for me. Number one, Toronto. I mean, when you're talking hockey, it's always Canadian teams, Montreal, Toronto. These teams are teams that will definitely go off as far as come postseason. I would say my odds, Winnipeg as well, because remember Winnipeg balled out as well. But my odds-on favorite, I would say, as always, I love the Golden Knights, but I'm gonna go with the Oilers. I'm gonna go with Montreal. I think that the Oilers just have something to prove in regards to what they're gonna do. So I wouldn't be surprised if we would have in the Western Conference the Oilers, and in the Eastern Conference we would have uh, the Capitals. Ovechkin breaks the record, and then he wins the championship. Then we can cement him as what, top three, top four hockey player all time. Right now, I think he's out of the top 10, even with him breaking that record. He may be 10. Okay, I won't say out of the top 10. He may be 10 as far as all time greats. But he gets another championship, then we have an argument that he's in the top three of best players we've ever seen.
Let me ask you this, right? When you look at runs to the title, you look at the NBA, you look at the NFL, where do you rank hockey, World Series, baseball? Where do you rank hockey in degree of difficulty to actually win? How hard would you say hockey is to win a chip? The grueling season, the playoff run, where do you rank it?
I think hockey is probably three out of all sports, the third hardest, because you're on skates, you're in the cold. Especially if you like for what the Panthers did last year, they get so much respect because they're in a hot state. So when you go from extreme heat to extreme cold, you're constantly getting sick. So the training that these players had to do what they did last year, and the Panthers went back to the Stanley Cup. Yeah, that's a degree of difficulty in this climate of Florida. You leaving the ice to come out to the heat. These guys had been catching colds every day, you know? And so what they did was great, but I still say it's three. I got that three. I think that the NBA, there's nothing more grueling than the NBA playoffs. I think the NBA playoffs is the hardest system. But football always will be number one for me because the thing what people don't realize in football, I seen this one quote. A guy was talking about how hard hockey is and how hard the NBA is. One thing that blows my mind, people don't realize, and this is the biggest thing with the NFL playoffs, the injuries, the fact that you're taking training camp back to shorter, you're taking preseason back to shorter, and you're asking their muscle memory to remember these things. These players have to be able to take hits and feel contact. I mean, I don't know about you, Prince, but if you ever got into a fight, some of the greatest fighters can take a punch.
Right.
Most people can't take a punch. They got a glass jaw. It's the same thing with your body. So to take a hit, a lot of people who are not used to taking hits are in trouble. And that's the reason why a lot of quarterbacks get hits, a lot of running backs get hit. So I would always go NFL, I would go NBA, and then I would go NHL.
Prince and Barty is your number one source for all things sports. Now streaming on Spotify and iTunes.
Let's talk about WrestleMania, man.
Next.
WrestleMania 41, getting a lot of attention. John Cena back. A lot of your favorites are back, and they turning heel, man. Just when you think of sporting events, right? You got obviously F1 is big coming down here. You got the World Cup, you got the Super Bowl. Where do you rank WrestleMania, as far as a sports spectacle when it comes to our entertainment? Where do you got WrestleMania?
WrestleMania is because we know wrestling is staged, it's not on that level, but it's still these guys do take pain, they do take hurt, so you got to show them love. But they've made it so much of a spectacle because they don't have viewership. So now they have to bring the Rocks back for people to watch. They have to bring John Cena's back to make them watch. And then a man who hasn't trained for a long time comes back and wins a championship. I don't think that makes any sense to me. So that kind of also shows the stageness of it, that it's an acting, it's like a Broadway play, and that's kind of what kills the game. I do think that people wanted to see Cena win because some people think Cena is the greatest wrestler of all time because of people said how strong he is, They say he's a physical specimen for his size. For him to beat Cody Rhodes, I think that it's something maybe the fans wanted because he was a bigger star than Cody Rhodes, but did he deserve it? No, because I think what Cody did to work to get his championship, I think Cody should still have it. But you also look at it and you realize that one thing, and people are going to probably say I'm tripping, but I think that it's lacking its direction, its production, because now Hunter Helmsley is the new GM. He's the new face and the spokesman of them. And so he makes these decisions that Vince used to make because Vince is too old now. Stephanie may help out his daughter, but I don't think that he knows. I don't think he's as great as they make him seem. They say he is old because you got Seth Rollins or you got Roman Reigns, and these guys are at the biggest capacity of their career. But I don't agree with the way WrestleMania is.
Nah.
Not at all. I just don't agree with. I don't agree with it at all. Hey, let's dive in real quick, man. Before we go, we got the draft Thursday.
It's the Barty Report.
Let's be great. Let's be great.
Where Ace Lombardi, a.k.a. Barty, brings you the latest news, rumors, and updates of the NFL.
I just want to throw a couple of names out, man. That's definitely on my list to watch out for the draft. And these are prime players for the Giants, the Eagles, and the Miami Dolphins. First, we got the Ole Miss defensive tackle, Walter Nolan, man. They're talking about this guy may be a beast, Warren Sapp-esque, coming from Ole Miss. They think Mel Kiper has him picked to go to Chicago, but I would like the Giants to draft him. I think that can change the dynamic of the New York Giants. You could get Walter Nolan. That would be a great pick for the Giants. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, shoot, if we could get him at 39, if he's still on the board, and I think that's what makes this draft interesting. They say Shador might be 22, so there's a lot of people that could fall. Once Hunter gets picked up, Ward, and all these other people, I think you'll get a lot of great defenders. They say it's a weak offensive draft, but it's some great O-line and defensive tackles.
Yeah, they're saying that you guys have picked Jalen Milroe from the Alabama. He has a lot of Lamar Jackson capabilities. That would be great as far as to pair him up with Neighbors. I think that's a great pick for you guys. I just didn't like the fact that you have so many quarterbacks in your room. And I don't think that it's going to be 4 quarterback roster spaces on the Giants after preseason. So I think one of these guys who they have, maybe Tom DeVito, may get cut, and they'll have Jalen Milroe as a piece for the Giants. For the Eagles, they have us picking James Pierce, but I would love for them to go after that Georgia faithful Michael Williams. They need an outside linebacker. They lost their sacker, who had 3.5 sacks in the Super Bowl on Patrick Mahomes. If they can pick up a linebacker who can be a great edge rusher, the thing about the Eagles, they love Georgia Bulldogs. So add another Bulldog to your team. They're running a Bulldog defense, so you might as well add another Bulldog to your defense.
Are you concerned about losing Josh Sweat?
That's the concern. The fact that he's gone, the fact that he went somewhere. I think our defense will be fine from the secondary. I think our defense will be fine from the linebacker position. But now, how do we get pressure on the quarterback? I know we have we have probably the best defensive tackles in the game with those 2 big dogs from Georgia, but we need somebody on the edge. I was really hoping that we got Trey Hendrickson, but as you can see, nothing has fall through yet.
Let me ask you this, man. I know we talked about the Dolphins and looking at Barron as a cornerback because Jalen Ramsey has requested a trade. So when you look at the Dolphins, what's going on with Jalen Ramsey, man? I feel like a lot of people think, he's an overrated player, had good moments, but a little bit overrated. Now, here's a question. We were one of the first people who were high on Sauce Gardner. And since then, Sauce has kind of been, pedestrian, to use a Stephen A. word. Do you think Sauce Gardner, Jalen Ramsey are the same players? Like these guys, they kind of jump the line, kind of gamble. Are they cover guys when you look at corners? Like what the Dolphins need somebody, a lockdown defender. What can you talk to about the state of cornerbacks as it stands?
we always talk about styles making fights. Styles make cornerbacks in this game. We don't. It's not an era of Revis. It's not an era of primetime Deion Sanders. That was the argument that people had when we would talk about Zonk comparing to Prime. That Zonk was more of a system corner. We have a lot of system corners. Quentin Michael, Quantum Bay, he's a great corner, but he's still a system corner. Cooper DeJean, a system corner. Now they are improving to get better, and they may get to that level, but right now they're system corners. When you look at Jalen Ramsey right now is ring chasing. I think he needs another ring to add to his legacy. He wants another championship to add to his legacy. He has one with the Rams, but he doesn't have another one. So he needs another championship in order to be a Super Bowl champion. He thought he could get it in Miami with all those great receivers. And you saw last year, Tyreek took a slump with the injury. Of course, Tua took a slump with the injury. And so now he wants to go to a champion. He can go to Philly. He can go to Kansas City. He can go to certain teams. I mean, there's so many things that jump off the page for them that doesn't make sense. And so we'll see what happens, man. I mean, one team that really jumps out as we wrap up the Barty report. I don't understand Minnesota. They have all these weapons in Hutchinson and in the best wide receiver in the game, and you want to throw J.J. McCarthy back there. Like, they really believe in J.J. McCarthy. They could have got Aaron Rodgers. They could have gotten Russell Wilson. They could have gotten somebody. But you believe in J.J. McCarthy. No disrespect, but I'm not. Go ahead. I'm sorry, what you saying?
No, because you cooking. I'm gonna let you cook. Your famous line, styles make fights, right? I think they have the ignorance of, well, if Sam Darnold could win, but Sam Darnold fit the system, right? So it's not a one system fits all. Some guy, look at Brock Purdy. He thrives with Shanahan. You put Brock Purdy with anybody else, he gonna look crazy. So I think they're thinking J.J. McCarthy, could do what Sam Darnold did. But I agree with you. I don't think so.
I'm not sure on J.J. McCarthy. He couldn't even make it out of preseason, and he wasn't as great in college as people make it seem. And now you're throwing him on a team where you're giving him the keys to the city. And Minnesota is a sports town. And they're going to be calling for your head if you don't know what you're doing. Who's
their backup right now? Or who's on that roster?
That's a good question, man. I don't even know who the backup is. Remember, they got rid of their whole quarterback. So their backup probably is a nobody. He's probably somebody we don't even know. And that's the scary part, because you remember they had not Samuel, the backup was the quarterback from the Jets they picked up.
But did they have Daniel Jones?
Daniel Jones, they released Daniel Jones.
No, I'm saying they had him too. Well, I guess
they had him.
Yeah. I think they're similar with the Steelers, where they don't have a real quarterback room.
You don't have a real QB, and then you have all these weapons. What are you going to do with all these weapons when it's time? And that's what scares me about their roster, is that you do not have the weapons in play for your team. And you're expecting to compete in the NFC, and that's the scary part. You don't know what's going on.
I agree, man. But before we wrap up, man, I know we movie buffs. We both saw Sinners and Michael B. Jordan. We saw that this weekend. What was your thoughts on the movie, man, real quick?
Great movie, man. It was a great movie. The music was amazing. The storyline was amazing. The production was amazing. They even had a end credit scene. A lot of people asking questions because they took place at a certain time, but the credit scene took it another time. So you got to watch the movie if you really want to know what it is. We're not going to give any spoilers real quick, but we will say this. As I say, I give the movie a 9 out of 10. There was a few holes, I thought, in the storyline, but other than that, I think the movie was a great movie.
No, I agree with you, man. A lot of people are saying Ryan and Michael are the new Denzel and Spike. What do you think about that? Obviously Fruitvale Station, Creed, Black Panther. Ryan's on a historical run. Probably one of the greatest directors of our generation of producers. What do you think about that duo and how Michael B. Jordan was just able to kind of kill that role, to play two people?
Michael B. was amazing, man. He definitely is going to get some recognition from the Academy. Ryan, we know what Ryan does. I mean, you just gave a small list. Remember, he did Space Jam with LeBron as well. So you got to give him his credit. So
he had to bring up Space Jam. Hey, that's a real Bron-sexual, boy. Space Jam, come on.
He did Space Jam, man. He did a good job.
Come on,
but seriously, all jokes aside, man. Ryan did a great job with the movie. The storyline was amazing. The fact that they had the blues and the music and everything from there, that's a great thing, and I definitely enjoy it. But to go back to what you asked me, I wanted to give this fact because I know you asked me the question. The Minnesota backup is Brett Ripon. That's how bad it is. Matt Ripon's son from the Rams. That's how bad it is. So they have nobody at their backup. So basically what's going to happen is they're going to have a plumber to come in and play quarterback. Hopefully they get another Kurt Warner, somebody who was a UPS player, and see what happens. But, man, y'all let us know, man, what y'all think. This was a great episode 113, Prince and Barty. Each and every week the podcast is coming.
Prince and Barty will be doing live broadcast at several locations around the country. Follow and like all Prince and Barty's social media pages for exclusive details. There will be game tournaments, sport trivia, best fan contest, and cash giveaways all night. This can be your chance to win big. Prince and Barty is your #1 source for all things sports. Now streaming on Spotify and iTunes.